Talking to myself and feeling old. Sometimes I'd like to quit. Nothing ever seems to fit. Hanging around, nothing to do but frown. Rainy days and Mondays always get me.
Ladies and gentlemen, here to make your Thursday even Thursier. Another episode, the 41st episode of Deep Cuts. Please give a nice, warm, deep welcome to your hosts for this episode, Nicole Pierce.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for Deep Cuts number 41. I'm so happy to see you all in the chat, and I'm happy for you to see who we've got tonight to play some music and to talk about the theme. So without further ado, I'm going to welcome our guests this evening. First, I see here Paul Carganilla. And Craig Jackman, Zachary White, David Benjamin, and the lovely Amanda Benjamin. Hey, friends.
That's a great way to get started.
Yeah. Hey, guys. I forget when the last Deep Cuts was. Was it just a month ago or was it 2 months ago?
Yeah. I think we
Yeah.
all right.
That was like the first one of the year, right?
It was like
Yes.
right after St. Patrick's Day, right?
It's March
Okay.
7th.
Right before.
Right before.
Right after.
Oh, cool.
Well, at least you knew it wasn't on St. Patrick's Day.
We
so you had a
should
choice
have
of
done
either
Green
two.
Day
If
for
you
St.
say
Patrick's Day.
If you say it's before, right after St. Patrick's Day, does that mean on St. Patrick's Day?
I said before or after.
I don't
guess.
know.
I
I
don't know.
before.
I still think we should have done a Green Day show. For that. That was-
Boulevard of
Oh.
Broken Dreams. It happens.
That should be your show next
All
time.
doing the Boulevard of Broken Dreams. That's
But
right.
each one has to be a different style. Like one's reggae.
Yeah. I do a hip hop style.
Yeah, man. We
That's
do the
awesome.
reggae, man.
Well, welcome everyone. These are our musical guests this evening. And I want to thank everyone who's joining us in the chat tonight. We love doing Deep Cuts shows for you all. And it's just so much fun to just chat with you all as well and discuss our theme. So I will just go ahead and say that our theme tonight is forgiveness. I don't really know why I thought of it, but I saw on our list that we had never done that before. And then I was thinking there's a lot of different ways you can go about forgiveness, like finding a song for forgiveness, whether it be, asking for forgiveness or forgiving someone that maybe hurt you, or maybe forgiving yourself of something in the past, or letting go of a grudge. Like there's just so many different ways to kind of look at it. So I was curious to see what our friends here have chosen tonight.
Yeah, it's interesting because like normally when we have these themes for Deep Cuts, you go, okay, put it in the Google machine, songs about blah, 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 blah. You do that for forgiveness and like 2 or 3 come up. And it's like, oh, so then you start to think of it from different angles because we've played this game before.
Yep.
Songs about asking for forgiveness, blah, 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 some different responses. And then it just like, it could go to like songs about you need to forgive someone, brokenhearted, hurt.
Yeah.
So
Then there's a lot all of a sudden.
yeah, so I'm excited to hear what people picked and why.
I know. I started thinking along the lines of, well, if you have forgiven or you have been forgiven, then maybe there's like peace, serenity, that kind
Exactly.
Oh, there you go.
That's an
Serenity,
angle
yeah.
too.
I didn't
you know?
choose that, but that's
Like,
the,
yeah, having a weight lifted off you for sure. So,
the Oops.
You have to expand the mind, open it up, and figure out, or ask AI.
Yeah. And you could even, or a song could be about like regret for not having forgiven someone before it's too late, kind of thing, too. So there's so many ways of going about it. So let's just get this wheel spun right off the bat.
Okay.
Okay.
Jumping into it.
Not much for
Why
the small
not?
talk, are we?
No, let's do
Quick before Amanda falls asleep.
I know, I
Yeah,
know.
really.
I worked like 10 hours today.
Oh.
Paul,
The Vodfather.
Godfather. Yep.
So, Paul, what did you find in your Google searches, or what did you narrow it down to?
You don't want to know
What?
about Paul's Google searches.
That's for another show.
Don't look at my history. Please don't look at my search history.
That's for the deep, deep cut show.
Oh.
Whoa.
We're not going there.
Okay.
Whoa.
Air those in like the middle of the night. It's really secret.
Yeah, exactly.
Greg had to go
Like a 3
there.
a.m. show.
Wait a minute. All I said was deep, deep.
Yeah, we got it the first time, Greg.
We. This is getting awkward fast.
Paul, hurry.
It's not. It's not yet 10, so we're okay
Oh,
so
yeah.
far.
It's after 10.
Oh gosh, let me look at my options. Well, I thought that oh gosh,
Thought you were gonna have time. The wheel knows.
so many of the
Remember
ones I thought I might do would be done before it was my turn. So do I just do whatever I wanted to do, or do I go weird?
Are you gonna
First
them on
come,
a-
first serve, right?
Are you gonna put them on a wheel and do your own mini wheel?
Subwheel.
I won't do that to y'all. I'll do one.
Stub wheeling.
I'll do one that comes with a fun personal story.
Oh,
Yay.
So obviously, Nicole puts in the chat forgiveness, and so when Jamie and I were getting married, we chose our officiant to be my grandfather. My mom's father, Frank Starkey, was a Lutheran minister, and so he was our wedding officiant. And on our wedding rehearsal night, right, rehearsal dinner night, he made a little toast, and he had brought with him a gift from my grandparents. He has since passed, and I think about him literally every day. But when Jamie and I used to go visit, I've talked about their ancient house in King City, California, that was built by the Steinbeck family, and they had a bed and breakfast, and Jamie and I would go and escape for a weekend and go and just sit and just veg out. And a lot of times we would do puzzles, and my grandparents would get a huge kick out of watching us trying to accomplish these almost impossible puzzles over the course of a weekend. And then we most of the time we would get it done, but I guess they would just watch from afar as we worked on these together, and we'd disagree, and we'd have spats, and we'd laugh, and and they would just watch us throughout the day just sit there and work on a puzzle. And so at our rehearsal dinner, he brought out this gift, and we unwrapped it, and it was a big framed and glued and preserved one of the puzzles that we worked on, because we would go and we'd work on it and then we'd leave. We didn't figured it would get crumbled up and put back in the box, but they had preserved this one and framed it and presented it to us at this dinner. And his message was forgiveness.
Ooh.
You're both human. You're in this for the long haul. You can overcome anything together as long as you can forgive, because you're both gonna mess up. Paul, mostly you, of course, but so when Nicole dropped the theme, I just thought of that. And So, and of course, I think in the themes and within religion, Christianity, faith, there's so much forgiveness just sown throughout the themes of most of the teachings and what is taught. And so I just thought maybe I do like a church hymn or a worship hymn tonight. And it's interesting because like I've been asked to, out of the blue over the past couple of days, I was going to host, so Jamie and I are going, another tangent, sorry. Jamie and I are going to the Queen Mary this weekend for Titanic anniversary sinking weekend. We're going to be on the Queen Mary for this event that's hosted by the Queen Mary Book Club. And I was asked to MC one of the speaking event that's happening. And several of the guest speakers have been on my podcast. And so I'm going to MC that. And then the person running the thing reached out to me yesterday morning and asked if I would also host and oversee a memorial for everyone who lost their lives in the Titanic.
Wow.
And,
wow.
and the Titan. Monday morning, it's going to be in the chapel on the Queen Mary. And she asked if I would host and facilitate like a memorial service. And I was like,
This
okay.
was just 2 days ago. She
It's like two or 3 days ago. My
dang.
days are getting mixed up. And so
Still
Jamie and I started to plan it. I started to putting some material together to do that. And Jamie and I were planning on, we're going to be performing Nearer My God to Thee, which is one of the last songs that the band played when the ship was going down. And then literally today, Alexandra Boyd and Nelson Aspen, who host Titanic Talk podcast, said, hey, we're doing a anniversary memorial live stream on Sunday. Would you and Jamie be willing to come on and sing Nearer My God to Thee to close the show? And it's just like all of this is just like all happening all at once. And so I just thought, there's something that God is wanting to do here and using me as a tool. Like, I don't get that, but I'll do it. I'm not going to fight it, and I'm going to do the damn best I can. And so I guess, I could do Adele, I could do the Eagles, I could do some forgiveness. Even if
that was my first.
Oh yeah,
of
first
course.
thing that popped in my head. The second Nicole's like forgiveness, it's like forgiveness.
Same here.
No.
but on the piano. Do, do, do.
Oh well, see that might be kind of cool.
Long story endless. This was always one of my favorite hymns in church, and it perfectly encapsulates all of the thoughts and feelings I've had the past few days. It's a church hymn called Here I Am, Lord.
Oh,
I love it. All right. Yay, Paul, with Here I Am, Lord.
I, the Lord of sea and sky, I have heard my people cry. All who dwell in dark and sin, my hand will save. I who made the stars of night, I will make their darkness bright. Who will bear my light to them? Whom shall I send? Here I am, Lord. Is it I, Lord? I have heard you calling in the night. I will go, Lord, if you lead me. I will hold your people in my heart. I, the Lord of snow and rain, I have borne my people's pain. I have wept for love of them. They turn away. I will break their hearts of stone. I can give them hearts for love alone. I will speak my words to them. Whom shall I send? Here I am, Lord. Is it I, Lord? I have heard you calling in the night. I will go, Lord, if you lead me. I will hold your people in my heart. I, the Lord of wind and flame, I will tend the poor and lame. I will set a feast for them. My hand will save. Finest bread I will provide, till their hearts be satisfied. I will give my life to them. Whom shall I send? Here I am, Lord. Is it I, Lord? I have heard you calling in the night. I will go, Lord, if you lead me. I will hold your people in my heart.
Ooh, oh my gosh. Oh, I have to sing harmony in that song at church all the time.
I was going to say, everybody home sing along, but I thought it might just be a little bit out of...
That was beautiful.
The founding priest at my church, that was his favorite song.
Yeah, I
And
love it so much.
every time the choir would do it, it was one that our parish just loves and never gets tired of.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And like, how old is it? Is it like a traditional hymn or it has like a 90s vibe? I don't know. why.
I know, right?
I think it's been around since the 70s.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
St. Louis
It's-
Jesuits, yeah.
It's young enough to be, or wait, it's old enough to be in like the hymn books at church. I don't know what the requisite is for that, but
But
yeah,
it's
it definitely
not- it's
has
not like
more
an
of a
old-
more traditional, like I mean, a more modern vibe to it.
Gotcha. Loved your rendition of it. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you for the opportunity and the great theme.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really excited for the rest of the songs, and I'm so happy that you shared that story about your grandfather and what he said. That is such a great message for newlyweds, I think, that newlyweds don't think about. And yeah, because everything's so happy and perfect in the beginning, but I mean, and like, it doesn't mean it's not going to be perfect and happy later, but we humans are just, we're humans. We're going to make mistakes, like you said. So yeah. And, you know, we can't be too proud to ask for forgiveness, and we can't, you know, we have to learn how to forgive too. So yeah.
Yeah, the ability, the strength to ask for grace and the ability to grant it. They're both very difficult. Like the level of difficulty is super, super high. And especially when it's people that you hold, that you love and you hold dearly in your heart, like, you know, the betrayal, like the feeling of betrayal is like more difficult than any other to overcome, or just like how easily someone you care deeply for can hurt you, is such a big thing. But being able to have the strength to say, no, I get it, I see where you're coming from, I totally understand if it was a mistake or if it was a misunderstanding, like on my end or your end, and I forgive you for the way you responded to that. It's huge. And it's, I mean, not just with married couples, but with friends too, family, even
All relationships.
Yeah. Anybody.
I know I've been cranky and lashed out at people in Vaudacity chats and private messages and been like, sorry, I'm so sorry, I was really cranky last night. But like, just having friends who are strong enough to say, I get it, I forgive you, and just you know, it's a cornerstone, and it is like a pure indicator of how much you trust and how much love you have for someone, to be able to say, I hear you, I forgive you, and let's, you know, when we have these missteps, when we have these moments and we need to like be able to say, I messed up, like I'm gonna be here for you if you'll be there for me. Like it goes both ways. Like friendships, relationships, as you just said, like marriages, like all just any important relationship you have, like that's so important. And for my grandfather to just like lay that down on the night before our wedding at the reception, or not the reception, the rehearsal dinner, was just like, and I never forgot it, clearly.
So thank you for that. All right. I forgot to ask how everyone is doing though. Like I just realized that I was like song, and then how is everyone?
I like
Anything
holding a
new?
grudge.
You like holding a grudge?
Mm-hmm.
So you forgive but don't forget, or you don't forgive and you don't forget?
If he says yes to both, we're in trouble.
I don't forgive, but I do forget pretty easily, so it amounts to the same thing. I said, what? No, you just fine. It's fine.
Smack.
Are you the deny type?
No.
That didn't happen. Oh, okay. Wait, he just denied that he's a denier.
Yeah.
What is
Yeah.
the truth? We'll never know.
What's happening right now?
Craig, what's going on in your life?
Oh, you know, looking forward to this, of course. Let's see. Getting together with friends tomorrow. Renaissance Fair is coming up in it's already on, but we're planning on going next Saturday. Not this one, but the following Saturday.
You should
I've
bring
seen
small birds
photos.
to it. Turn it into a real Ren fair.
The what?
R-E-N. Ren. Fair.
WREN? Yeah. There are birds out there, and I'm sure there might be a wren or two, but yes.
I've never been to a Renaissance fair.
Oh, you need to
I haven't been
go.
to one
Looks
since.
I
like
even have an
so
outfit
much
for one.
I haven't been to
haven't been to
one
one.
since like high school, probably.
Really?
I've been
It's
wanting to go.
fun.
I've been wanting to send Faruko to one at some point,
Yeah.
but it hasn't happened yet.
Oh my God. You know
I
what?
still
I
have my
believe
pirate
Faruko would
outfit.
eat it up. Well, it's Pirate Weekend this weekend.
Drink it up. Even.
Is it always in
Yeah.
the spring? Is there a reason
Yeah.
behind? Is there a reason for that?
Better weather.
Okay.
Equinox.
This particular one typically goes from the first weekend of April till usually the third weekend of May.
Except it's like raining every weekend now.
No, not necessarily.
It rained all last week. It's supposed to rain this weekend.
Well, yes. And normally, well, it's interesting. Normally, I usually have gone, or we have usually gone, the first weekend because it's usually the coolest.
Yeah.
But we're going with
The
some.
coolest.
Yes, it would have. Because sometimes as it gets on, those Ren Fair, oh my gosh, it is just hot.
So there's like all kinds of activities. It's not just
Oh,
food
yeah.
and music. It's like bow and arrow.
Food, music, bow and arrows, stage productions.
Axe throwing?
What? Axe throwing, crossbow.
Okay.
But I
Yeah.
haven't
More interested?
shot a crossbow in a long time.
There's also jousting.
My
Okay.
wife talking about
And I
that.
mean, we're
I'm slightly
talking-
worried.
We're talking big time jousting on magnificent horses, in
Are they
full
covered
knight
in
armor.
steel? Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Plate mail.
yeah. But now the lances break away. But what they do is they go for targets on the arms, and boy, sometimes those lances they just shatter.
Are they
So they-
loud? Oh my gosh.
Oh
I'd
yeah,
say they use
Oh,
a lance a
it's-
lot.
They can still.
They
knock
do
you
quite a
over.
few. Yes. What Amanda?
I said they can still knock you over, even
Mm-hmm.
break.
One of the experiences I remember a few years ago, the guy got hit by the lance. Now these lances are bamboo, so I mean they're loud, they break, but you still, I mean it's still
Bamboo is
you got a
soft.
horse galloping at you,
Yeah, it's a lot.
and this one guy got hit just at the right spot and flipped over backwards off the back of his
See, that's
horse.
what I'm talking about. No.
But these guys know about this.
It's like the way they're like, oh, it's just paintballs. It was fine. I'm like, no, man.
I mean,
Hurt.
that's like bragging rights if you like flip back.
Oh,
like
yeah.
that, probably. So that's cool.
Yeah, it's fun. I recommend it. And if you can, you dress up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Right. Yeah, I would have to. I mean,
yeah.
I'd love to dress up.
Yeah.
I would make
Well,
a whole-
you can rent a costume there, or you can
Okay.
create your own costume. I don't know if you've seen. Sometimes I post up
You
my
really
costume.
want to rent a costume at a Ren fair.
And
You don't have to, but
the rent-
well, in David's case, it'll probably he would probably bring a bird costume, and so then it would work for there.
I mean, do the rental costumes, do they at least spray them down like bowling shoes? You know,
I
in
would
between
think so.
Paul,
rentals?
did you
Okay.
see my Lucille Ball come out? Talk about that on Magical Mystery Hour. I was like,
Yes.
just sometimes she'll just pop out. There was one.
yeah.
That's my favorite.
Oh my goodness. Well, that sounds like so much fun. I'm gonna have to do that one of these years. I feel like there's
yeah.
too much going on right now for me, but I will.
Even if you just go dressed up and you look at all of the eye candy that's out there, and when I say eye candy, yes, there's
Need
that,
me.
but there is also just the
Literally candy.
costumes.
Oh,
The costumes and the way that people dress and the way that people act, and people actually are employed by the fair who come up and get you to participate.
I just like the idea now that there's like these candy stands.
Uh-huh.
Nicole's like, ooh,
I'm like, say more. Tell me more.
where's the candy?
Well, I look forward to seeing the photos because I've seen photos of Susan in her full gear, and I think
That is her new outfit. This will be the inaugural Ren Fair for her in showing it off.
Is this something that you have to get like tickets for way in advance, or is this something you can just
we
decide
talked
to
about
do
going
and
last year. We just did.
You can just show up.
you just show up?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
with
can
my-
buy the tickets online, of course. And now we're doing a little commercial for Ren Fair, but yeah,
They're sponsored by Ren Fair.
exactly.
Nobody
But
here is
no,
earning any commissions or
and
kickbacks.
Joe,
from it.
you're right. Benjamin, I think would have fun because of all of the different colors and things that are going on.
Okay, and he would look so cute in a little outfit.
Oh gosh, some of the kids that you see there, yes.
Yes.
Little
Cool. Well,
breeches.
thank you for telling us all about that. In the chat, let me know if you're going to a Renaissance fair this year.
And Dave Hill, yes, large cups of
Oh, yeah.
mead.
Mead.
And turkey leg.
Yep.
Just have big old
Mead.
turkey leg.
Mead is an acquired taste for me. I'm not sure if I've
Need,
acquired it yet.
have the need for mead.
I don't think I've ever had.
Mead. Well, I think it's time to spin the wheel, you guys. I want to hear another
Okay,
song.
Let's do it. Let's do
Maybe
it.
it'll be Craig if the wheel
Well,
Oh.
we'll find
loves
out.
you tonight.
She's dropping notes. I was
I
gonna
know.
say we got to get Amanda out of here before, but then the wheel would hear that and be like,
Oh.
I know, don't say it.
Well, let's.
"That's why I didn't
What
say
I'm
it."
trying to do here. Okay.
What does the
Even then,
owl
it's
say in the
just like-
Tootsie Roll commercial?
And I
Let's
was just like,
find
oh,
out.
I just thought of another song. Literally.
Speaking of,
Oh my gosh, the wheel is so lovely tonight because
The
this is
wheel,
what Amanda wanted.
Granting
I
grace.
was like, I would love to sing before 10 so I can decide when I need to go to bed. Because I was saying I worked like 10 hours today, and I went like, so I had like 10 hours of work, went to the gym after that, and then came home and then did deep cuts.
Oh God.
And we were just talking about forgiveness and granting grace, and it was like, I've got grace for
Like-
Amanda.
It's like, I
I
love you.
mean, you and the wheel go way back.
We're like this. Like 90% this.
Got you wrapped around his little axle, doesn't it?
I know.
Where's Mr. Peabody and Sherman when you need them? For those of you who know about the Wayback
Oh,
Machine
I don't.
Vaguely remember that.
from Bullwinkle and Rocky.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
those
I know who those
cartoons.
characters are.
hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
Better than pulling a hat out of your rabbit.
Oh
Nothing
my
up my sleeve. Presto.
Like Natasha and what?
Yeah.
Boris.
Boris and
Boris and
Natasha.
Boris Badenoff and Natasha.
I remember them. Of course, I remember.
Russians.
But
The Russian. I need to YouTube some of that.
Oh my gosh, that is classic cartoons.
Is Bullwinkle like? Are they Canadian? Like, what are any
Jay
of them?
Ward? I don't know. I can't remember if he is or not. But it was, it was done. They did have what you're thinking of is Dudley Do-Right of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police,
Okay, maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
because that's where that came from.
Okay. Well, Amanda, have you figured out what song you're doing tonight? I feel like that's always the struggle with deep cuts. It's like, what the heck
well, somebody
are we doing?
who was, I don't remember. Somebody wrote like Nicole on Monday was like, Nicole, what is the theme for this week? And Nicole was like, it's too early. Ask me again on Wednesday. And I was like, I put in there. I said, well, yeah, I would love to know today so I can pretend like I'm gonna pick out a song tonight, but really just pick one right before deep cut.
Exactly.
I like to pretend to pick my song tonight. Thank you. And it's funny because as we were like talking, then another song popped into mind, and I was like, oh, I could have taken this a whole nother direction. But it's
What
okay, I'll
direction
stick with
was
what
that?
I-
Oh.
Well, because we were talking about like forgive and forget, right? And like I was like, oh, like there's a whole song about that I love to sing. But I'm gonna stick with my first intuition.
Okay.
Because I was thinking and I was like, oh, okay, like forgiveness, that's a big feeling. So and I was like, who's my go-to big feeling person? That would be Adele. And there were like
Totally.
3 songs that I thought of, but there is one that I really love. Like the song, I love just everything about it, the beat, the feel, even the backing vocals. I just love it all. So I decided to do a song. She's asking for forgiveness in this song. She lays a little bit of blame, says this is a two-way street, but I admit that I was wrong. This is a two-way street, but I was wrong.
I love that.
Yeah, and there's just something about this song, it gets me every time. So I decided to do I'll Be Waiting.
I'll be waiting. So excited to hear you sing that tonight. All right.
right.
Go, Amanda.
Hold me closer one more time. Say that you love me in your last goodbye. Please forgive me for all my sins. Yeah, I swam dirty waters, but you pushed me in. I've seen your face under every sky, over every border, and on every line. You know my heart more than I do. We were the greatest, me and you. But we had time against us and miles between us. The heavens cried. I know I left you speechless. But now the sky is clear and it's blue, and I see my future in you. I'll be waiting for you when you're ready to love me again. I'll put my hands up. I'll do everything different. I'll be better to you. I'll be waiting for you when you're ready to love me again. I'll put my hands up. I'll be somebody different. I'll be better to you. Let me stay here just one more night. Build your world around me and pull me to the light, so I can tell you that I was wrong. I was a child then, but now I'm willing to learn. But we had time against us and miles between us. The heavens cried. I know I left you speechless, but now the sky is clear and it's blue, and I see my future in you. I'll be waiting for you when you're ready to love me again. I'll put my hands up. I'll do everything different. I'll be better to you. I'll be waiting for you when you're ready to love me again. I'll put my hands up. I'll be somebody different. I'll be better to you. Time against us, miles between us. Heavens cried. I know I left you speechless. Time against us, miles between us. Heavens cried. I know I left you speechless. I know I left you speechless. I'll be waiting. I'll be waiting for you when you're ready to love me again. I'll put my hands up. I'll do everything different. I'll be better to you. I'll be waiting for you when you're ready to love me again. I'll put my hands up. I'll be somebody different. I'll be better to you.
Woo! Oh my
Oh
goodness.
my.
Of that.
I actually don't know this song.
Oh,
That was
I love
fun.
21 is such an amazing album.
Which album is it on?
It's on 21.
21? Oh my goodness.
I can listen to that album a million times, never be tired of it.
That one, I love the beat to that one. It's just
Right? It just has like that,
Mm-hmm.
like,
yeah, you want to dance for sure.
yes.
I remember you did that one time for your
I did.
show, and
Song.
you
I did
just
most of the songs from 21.
you just slay those vocals. And like I said in the live chat, you do Adele so well.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I'm gonna start an Adele cover band.
There you go.
There's a lot of them out
Fantastic.
there, anyways. Other cover bands, why not, right?
Why not?
Why not?
I
Adele
didn't know that
tribute.
song either, and
Yeah,
you killed it, slayed it.
Slate is
Wait,
the
Amanda.
right word, Zach.
Well,
I have to say, real quick.
oh,
I got a drop in my Venmo tip jar from Emily Thatcher. Thank you, Emily.
So nice.
and if you guys want to donate to the tip jars of any of the performers tonight, here they are. You don't have to if you don't want to. We're just glad to have you with us, but it's nice. So thank you very much, especially
Thank
Emily.
you. That is so nice, Emily. Thank you so much. Zach, how are you?
I'm worn out.
You're worn out. What time? It's midnight. Oh my goodness, it's midnight
Well,
over there.
It's more of worn out from the week, from the long homestand that I've had. Today was the final game of the homestand for the Rangers. It was wild.
So
We
did you
had
get, like, a little
Houston and
break?
Oakland. Yeah, they're going to be on the road starting tomorrow night, and it was a brutal Houston series, and then the Oakland series. By the time Oakland comes, I'm just like, oh, I'm ready for this to be over.
Wait a minute. This is the team that won the series last year, and they're not doing well?
Well, no, they're doing all right. It's just, the Houston fan base that comes in, and you have to understand, the Houston Astros fans feel like that one World Series, the controversial World Series, was a legitimate World Series. And so they come and they cause mayhem with the Rangers fans. And they're also...
And the World Series that you're talking about is the one they stole from the Dodgers, correct?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
The one where they got...
They cheated and they stole the World Series
Was
from the
that
Dodgers.
during?
Yeah.
Wait, when was that? During COVID?
I think it
No,
was
It was like
2017.
2019? Whoa.
right
Yeah.
before COVID.
It was before COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But-
But then again, that to me sounds more like the Dodgers and Giants whenever they get together.
No, but like so what he's saying is like the Astros cheated to win that series.
Oh, well, yes, but I'm talking
And
about
then
the
they
rival.
walk into the Rangers ballpark like, look at us. We've won
Like,
a
we're the
World
big
Series.
shots.
Yeah.
And then the Rangers are like, "You're in our house. Chill."
And last year, they every time they visited Globe Life Field, they took to Globe Life Field as their home. And the Astros fans were obnoxious. They were rude. They were rude to a lot of our customer service people and everything. And
Oh my goodness, that's
this time around, it was just wild. And I stayed pretty busy. You believe it or not, 50-50 raffle was we had some pretty big jackpots over the weekend, which meant we were running around fulfilling everybody's want to buy a raffle ticket. And by the time Oakland came Tuesday and last night, and of course this afternoon, we're all just worn out from the Houston series. And then we had the opening series and the exhibition game the week previously, and yeah, that's where I've like used up a little bit of my voice doing, screaming over the loud speakers, because they've also changed some of the music at the ballpark this season as well.
oh.
And screaming over that just for fans to hear what you're saying.
I can't imagine like night after night. That is intense. And then you probably have like ringing in your ears. It's almost like going to a concert, probably.
Not really. For me, it's if you hear a certain thing over and over and over again, you're gonna start hearing that when it's like dead silent.
Oh. You don't hear ringing, you hear the same thing.
I hear the music and the loud, the loud music and everything, and
Oh, wow.
it's been a wild week, and now I get to relax for 2 weekends, for this weekend, next week, and then next weekend, and then it's back whenever they face Seattle. But other than that, of course, I got a front row seat to watch the eclipse from my house.
Oh my
Cloud
gosh.
free.
Yep.
Cloud
So,
free.
so Mike and I had a little getaway.
That's
that
right.
we were
That
trying
picture
to
was
keep,
great.
We were trying to keep it kind of like low key secret because I work at a tax office, and this is like the right at the end of tax season, and I'm not supposed to be like going on a little trip anywhere. But but Mike
Whole
back
world on YouTube.
But Mike back in February was like, "Hey, like there's going to be a total eclipse visible in North America coming up in April, and it's, the closest place you could see it from California is in Texas." And we both love we've been to Austin a few times. So we were like, "Oh, could we go to Austin? Like what's the deal?" And then we kind of just went for it without even asking my work or anything. We just went for it and got tickets, plane tickets, because they seemed like decent price tickets. And we found an Airbnb that was a new listing. So, when it's a new listing, they have the price like super discounted because you just don't know what to expect. So we're like, okay, like let's do this. And anyway, the cheapest tickets we found was to Dallas Fort Worth Airport, and we're like, we've never been to Dallas before, but let's go for it. And our trip time was, I want to say, about 30 to 35 hours total. Like we got there.
We could have done that.
We got there Sunday night. Went to like have you heard of? Well, you probably know, Zach, like Deep Ellum area where like the
I know
bars
about
and
that area. Yeah.
the bars and stuff were there. So we did that the first night, just like got some drinks, and it was a really nice getaway for Mike and I, because we've had like one date night in the last few months or longer. It's been so long, so like this was just what we needed. And so that was really fun. My mom watched Benjamin, and we got to go on this like little getaway trip. And then the next day we tried to just drive away from Dallas city center because it was just covered with clouds in the morning, and we got very nervous. So we're like, okay, we have to stay in the path of totality, but like where does it show on our weather app where it's still like sunny? Because most, like it said Dallas was partly cloudy, but it was definitely full on clouds. So anyway, we drove a little bit north, and we were still in the path and had the best view and time. And you saw it, Zach. It's absolutely incredible. Like I highly recommend, if you can at some point in your life, go do that, because it really, like, I know you're a spiritual person, Zach, and it really just makes you feel, I don't know, for me, it really makes me feel that there has to be a higher power, and it also makes you feel so small in this universe too, like simultaneously. And just like what I've learned is like the moon is always it's like getting a little bit further away from Earth. So like while us humans are here, like right now, the sun is, or the moon is exactly, like the size that we see the sun because of the distance of the sun and the moon from us right now. But like our ancestors, like, I don't know, cavemen, Neanderthals, people like that, like they saw a larger moon, so they didn't get to see like the eclipse that we see right now. It was a totally different experience for them, and then in the future it'll be completely different too. So it's really crazy, but it was a beautiful experience.
Amazing that you guys had the foresight to like plan that trip because I remember, I think it was last Deep Cuts, we were talking about you guys were gonna go on this trip, and I was like, wait, what? Like there's a solar eclipse and there's a path where and then it just became like what everyone was talking about, and you guys already like we're gonna be there, and I was like, oh, I wish we could be there too. But I'm like, definitely, if I'm still alive in 20 years, which is a huge if, I'm gonna try and make my way up to Northern California, I guess. But I definitely want to try and experience it. And of course, it's like you're always at the mercy of the weather. And
I know.
Like Outcast says, you can plan a pretty picnic, but you can't predict the weather. And my mom was saying she was reading a bunch of articles that said like miraculously, like along the path, it was pretty cloudy most of the way. But as the eclipse was passing, like clouds were parting and allowing like just.
I didn't read about that, but then when we got back so we drove probably like an hour away from Dallas because we were just like, if we miss this thing.
Where'd you wind up seeing it?
So let me just remember. I put a little tag on my Google Maps so I can remember.
We were in Kansas.
It was close to. I was like, should we drive to Ohio? Like I was like, or Oklahoma. I mean, I was like, I will go anywhere. Like we'll just wake up early and drive. But it was like the clouds were directly like on the path, kind of. So in Dallas, the totality. The total eclipse would have lasted about like 3 minutes, I want to say, but where we were, it was more like just under 2 minutes, so it was still like quite a while.
We had 4 minutes here.
Was it 4 minutes, sir?
At my house, at least, it was 4 minutes. It felt like it was shorter, but it timed it. It was 4 minutes.
In the shadow, from what I understand, it was an average of 2 to 4.5 minutes.
Okay. So we were near Louisville Lake. Do you know?
I know
where that
exactly
is?
where that is. Okay, so that's up near Grapevine area. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little like northwest or northeast of Grapevine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got family that lives in that part of town too.
Oh, really? Yeah, we just like we found a park, and there was people like but it wasn't like crowded at all. And I set up like I had a little tripod. I set up my phone with this like little filter I had, but of course the phone's not gonna get anything like worthwhile. Like you need like a telescope for that. But
I actually saw because my mom had the news on before that happened, and they said if you had one of those glasses and you put it like if you have your phone and you put it over the camera lens. And aim it up at the sun, you could get a good view of that.
That's kind of what I had. It came with like the glasses that I got. It came with like a little separate thing that you could like tape onto your phone.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, nice.
But
it took a little bit of like finagling because I found like if I completely covered my camera, it didn't show the eclipse as well on my camera as if it was just a little bit under, so a little bit of light could come in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it wasn't as easy as like.
No, because then,
like, oh,
because then you're messing with that, but you're like, I need to see this thing. So, but yeah, once it got dark, I mean, it was crazy. As the sun was being covered up, it was like the environment was. It kind of looked like there was a filter put on, like you were wearing like a filter, and like everything kind of got a little orangey and then all of a sudden, when it was covered, it was just twilight and it was dark. And I just couldn't believe what I was looking at. I was like, this is crazy.
We had surrounding neighborhoods. People are actually shooting off fireworks.
What?
Once, I kid you not, it was about maybe a couple blocks to the northwest of me.
Oh my gosh.
Someone whenever it went dark, someone actually shot off fireworks, and we were hearing pop, 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 pop. And I'm like,
it doesn't surprise me though.
You're kidding me.
It's like, hello, we want it to be dark. Like, stop that immediately. But that's cute at the same time because people are excited. So, but yeah, anyway.
This is something I did at work. So I was at work And I loved that, like, this is a bunch of the commanders and the assistant chiefs. They wanted to go out and see it, and I'm just like, I love that, chiefs of police still just want to go out and see it. So I took this picture with my camera, and then I took it with eclipse glasses over the lens, and then I just kind of did a split screen of what the sun actually looked like with the eclipse glasses on, and then what they were looking up and seeing, and that's what it looked. That was at the peak of it at 11:11.
Was that at the peak here? Okay.
Yeah, that was the peak
wow.
here.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, because it takes a while. It takes a while, like, to get from,
And
one
then
side.
that since we were showing the pictures, here's the view from the space station. I don't know if
Oh
anybody.
wow.
Yeah.
That
That's
looks
awesome.
so creepy.
It really
So
looks like there's
cool.
a black hole in
Yeah,
the center.
It
looks like we're gonna get
does.
sucked.
Yeah.
Well, that was another thing. I was like, I felt like we were gonna get like abducted. Like we were just like because we were like laying down like on the grass and just like looking up, and I'm like, something's gonna like beam us up right now. I swear.
But the one thing about this eclipse that I really loved the most was the fact that it brought people together. As divided as we are right now in this country, it was that one event, and that, like like you were saying, Nicole, about the whole spiritual thing. God uses stuff like that to bring people together and to unify them, and that's really how I felt the eclipse. That was what the eclipse served as a unifying moment for everybody.
That is such a good point, Zach. Yeah, I think so too. For sure. Yep. So I'm so sorry that we didn't see you, Zach. Really, truly, I am. I'm like, man, we were so close. But I think Mike and I really needed this like little time away for ourselves because it went by so fast, but we were able to just do a lot of things. And Dallas is like, I've been to Houston, I've been to Austin, and now Dallas, and I didn't know what to expect for Dallas, and I really thought it was awesome. Like, I would like to go back for sure.
Well, whenever you do come back,
I better go see you. And we better jam.
Yeah, we will most certainly have to do like a whole day of running around the Dallas Fort Worth area, and if it's a weekend, the Rangers are in town,
Then we would go to
or
a
even
game
if it's
probably.
a week, if it's a weeknight, I could usually get you in for free.
Oh my goodness. Well, that would
So-
just be the cherry on top.
You know,
All right. Well, you got to get over here too so you can hang out with
Yeah.
all of us in California.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep. Sure, everyone
that's
in
on the
the
agenda.
I'm
That's
sure
on the
everyone in the
agenda.
chat
Dude.
That's on the agenda eventually. A few things have to happen before I do that, but that is on the agenda.
Okay, perfect. Well, I think it's time for Mr. Wheel to get spun again. Is it a Mr.
Okay.
or is it a Miss?
It.
Le Wheel. Le Wheel.
I'd ask Amanda, but it's probably a they, them.
Right? I think it changes based on your perception of it.
Okay.
Hmm.
Well, let us perceive the wheel.
I mean, this sounds like a masterpiece.
Okay. All right.
Ow.
I know.
Halfway this time.
Has Zach ever been last? Zach, have you ever been last?
I think I was second to last.
So no.
And,
if you don't
and
remember
it was
being
like,
last,
what was it?
It's
Yeah, you
all right.
remember
It's
Was
all
it
right.
2 or 3 in the morning your time?
No, it's literally 12:20.
Okay, good.
It's 12:20. It's all right.
Okay, so he can go last tonight. Just kidding.
We'll
Craig.
disregard that comment.
Careful. Remember, the wheel does have ears.
Somewhere.
I don't
Yes.
care.
The wheels
I don't
were
care. That
disregarded.
wheel's
Well-
probably afraid of me.
I was gonna say, well, we're lucky and also unlucky because Mike, as you can see, is not here with us tonight because he was putting Benji to bed, and that was a whole mission, and then
He never came back.
and then they never came back. And I looked on my camera, and he's just like, he was passed out next to him.
Oh.
And, yeah. So I don't know if he's still there or not. But
Okay, so Benji's having a rollicking party, and Mike's the one who's out
Yeah,
on the light.
probably. He's like,
yeah, exactly. That's Benji right now. But anyway, so one less person on the wheel. Maybe we can not let this last forever, but we're having so much fun. I hope you guys are having fun with us.
And speaking of, I am
Absolutely.
gonna go and get ready for bed so I can wake up
Oh.
early tomorrow.
Oh, right now?
Yeah. No,
Okay.
I was like, oh, I'll do it after Craig, and I was like, no, because then I'm gonna talk another another segment.
We're gonna find something else to talk about. Yeah,
Exactly. Like I definitely have major FOMO when I leave early. I'm like, "Ugh."
She
yeah,
does. She hates being the first people to leave the party.
Well,
yeah.
and she doesn't
especially-
have to.
and especially deep cuts. I
I love deep cut.
I mean, yeah, you're right, Craig. She doesn't have to.
Exactly. I mean,
Also,
we're not
it's-
twisting her arm or anything like that, you know.
I mean, what I'm going to be playing is probably this piano's loud.
I know. I gotta go downstairs and get my headphones.
She doesn't want to listen to me. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay,
No,
Doesn't
because
bother
if I
me.
fall asleep before you start, then I'll wake up and be like,
Or maybe
Real
you
serious
should
about
let
it.
her know so that Lucy is not about.
oh, Lily, yeah.
You
Yeah,
already
Listen.
took the
We're
dog
up in
collars
the
off.
room, it's usually fine.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
good.
The host of the show is trying to say something.
I was gonna say, well, Amanda,
Yeah.
thank you so much for joining us tonight and singing that beautiful song with your amazing voice. I'm so glad, even though you had a super long day, that you made
I know.
it work out to come on tonight.
Me
so,
too.
so nice to see you, and maybe we'll see you in the chat unless you're knocked out.
Yeah. I'll stay on for, as long as I can. Okay, bye.
Thanks.
Bye, Amanda.
Hi, Amanda.
Right, Amanda.
Oh my goodness. Really quick, Craig, I know it's your turn, but we, Mike and I just spent, what was it, 2 weekends ago that we went to your place, David?
Yes, it was 2 weeks ago.
Oh my gosh, I should have mentioned this earlier when Amanda was just on, but like that was so much fun. We spent one night at the Benjamin's house, and actually Hunter was there, and we had
Oh.
some food, and we jammed for a little bit, and it was a lovely
Just hung
time.
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like first time in quite a while that we've done that.
Yeah, I think it was like
Mix.
a whole year. I think it
Yeah,
was, or
yeah.
it felt like it.
And Hunter,
I didn't
Hunter's
worry
still
about it.
alive?
Yeah, he's
we
kicking.
That's
weren't
wonderful
sure if
news.
he was gonna show, and there he
great.
was in the flesh.
Yeah, looks like he's doing really well.
Oh, good.
Yeah, yeah. He's doing a
Hunter.
lot of the what is it? Voiceover
Yeah, the audiobook stuff.
Audiobooks.
Yeah.
audiobooks.
he's-
So seems like that's going really well for him.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
All right. Well, Craig, what did
Yes?
you think of when you heard what the theme was?
Oh my gosh. Well, like what Paul had kind of shared earlier, it's not an easy subject to find popular songs. I will say that. And you have to kind of open up your understanding of the word forgiveness, maybe with some other things.
Right.
Now, you know, for me, forgiveness is not only to other people, but also just a real quick thing, to yourself. Because you do have to forgive yourself for things and not beat yourself up. This is, you know, if you what is it? Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. And so if you can learn to forgive yourself and move forward, that is what's one message I love about forgiveness is, yes, not only you to others, but you to yourself. You
Yeah.
need to.
I mean, others could, like, you could ask others for forgiveness and they could forgive you and they'll be fine. But, like, unless you forgive yourself, you can't move on, you know?
Exactly.
Then you get stuck.
And the song I selected kind of does that. The song comes to us from 1967 and was not only written by Neil Diamond, but he also did some of the backing vocals for this song. As now, Cashbox is also like Billboard, but Cashbox is no longer around. But they were big at this time. And as Cashbox put it, this song was destined to become this group's third million seller in a row. So they had a big string of hits in 1967. The American Fab Four, as some people have touted them, was originally a fictional band created for an NBC television sitcom and was inspired by the Beatles, A Hard Day's Night, and Help films. In other words, doing the show. Since Davy Jones was already locked in as one of the band members, they held auditions through a classified ad to get the other band members. And the producers ran ads in the Hollywood Reporter and Daily Variety for the 3 remaining slots, eventually filled by Michael Nesmith, Peter Tork, and Mickey Dolenz. And getting back to the song that I'm going to be singing, the song tells the story of a man claiming responsibility for difficulties in a relationship, which implies that they are both at times right and wrong. And the acoustic guitar-driven number reached the top of the charts, giving the Monkees their smash hit after the song I'm a Believer, and this is called A Little Bit of Me, Little Bit You.
Yay, Craig. Take it away.
Walk out, girl, don't you walk out, we've got things to say. Talked out, let's have it talked out, things will be okay. Girl, I don't want to fight, I'm a little bit wrong, and you're a little bit right. I said, girl, you know that it's true. It's a little bit me, it's a little bit you, too. Don't know just what I said wrong, but girl, I apologize. Don't go, here's where you belong, so wipe the tears from your eyes. Girl, I don't want to fight, I'm a little bit wrong, you're a little bit right. I said, girl, you know that it's true. It's a little bit me, it's a little bit you, too. Oh girl, I don't want to fight, I'm a little bit wrong, and you're a little bit right. I said, girl, you know that it's true. It's a little bit of me, and it's a little bit you, too. It's a little bit me, it's a little bit you. Girl, don't go, no, 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 no. Girl, don't go, no, 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 no. Hey girl, please don't go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
I
was
think there's a
awesome.
recording of I think Neil Diamond did a recording of it as well.
He did. He record. I think it's on one of his live albums because he didn't record it until he was doing actually live tours. I did read about that, and that one and I'm a Believer both
He wrote
He wrote both of those.
both
Yeah.
of those?
Yes.
Although I'm a believer, he did. I know there's an album of early songs, and it's in a different key than the Monkees did it.
The Monkees did the most famous version,
Yeah.
followed, and then Smash Mouth did it years later because of Shrek.
Wreck.
Yeah. But yeah, Neil Diamond was part of, and a little more history. The Monkees were put together, like I said. Don Kirshner was the executive producer, and Don Kirshner wanted them to do songs that were written by his group of people, of which Carole King was one. Don Kirshner was another. They were part of what they called the Brill Building Group.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's
The Bang Records
It- it,
days
like-
too.
it makes me think of like the boy bands that were put together like in the 2000s for some reason.
Oh, yeah.
Like, but this started way back.
Yeah.
That
They were
was
trying to
the
figure
old
out
idea.
something. What I remember is they were trying to figure out something that would be as cool as the Beatles. And like I said, they, taking the Beatles movies and having fun. And so they turned it into a sitcom that lasted 3 seasons. And here's an interesting fact too about the Monkees. Monkey fans will know this, but there was a concert where the opening act was Jimi Hendrix.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
What?
And the Monkees were on the same bill. And the fans booed Hendrix off.
What?
Yeah.
Uncultured.
They wanted the Monkees. Yes.
Oh
Are
my
you kidding me?
goodness.
They didn't even realize a legend was right in front of their eyes.
Was he doing some like hidden camera kind of show? Like, was he acting like someone else? Like, was it Jimi Hendrix under?
It was
guise
an
of-
actual live concert that the Monkees performed at, and Hendrix was also on the bill,
Oh wow.
like at a stadium.
Were the Monkees the headliners?
Uh-huh.
Oh, that is embarrassing for those people.
Oh,
Interesting.
Yeah.
hey man, everybody, different strokes for different folks.
True,
Exactly.
but you don't boo at someone. That's
That's
not
true.
cool.
Well, okay, if you think about it, the kids wanted the popness of the Monkees.
Jimmy was
And-
too trippy for them.
Yeah.
They're,
Yeah,
Too classic rock for our pop music hearts.
exactly.
Yeah. I mean, it is very different music, right?
Oh gosh.
So, like, who chose him to headline for them? I guess
Yeah.
whoever was
it's-
behind that.
Oh, and Darren Walsh is saying here the Who opened for Herman's Hermits. There's another combination. So if you can imagine,
Who's that?
Mrs. Brown, you've got a lovely daughter.
Daughter.
Yeah.
I don't know that one.
There were a
I have
couple
to-
of
I know
Herman's
this one.
Hermits songs, but I mean, definitely,
Not in the same.
not in the same realm as the Who.
So it's classic rock bands like having failure as the opening acts for pop.
Or bubblegum rock, actually.
There we go. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, it's the next show theme.
Bubblegum rock.
No. Yeah, bands who failed as openers for other bands.
Oh, there we go.
Very specific. At least we're being educated right
Doesn't
now.
mean they're bad. I mean,
No.
Hendrix got
No.
booed off the stage.
It was still on the wheel.
Well, wait a second. Even though it's me and David, Nicole still has to pick when she goes.
Oh, I have a song. I thought I was just gonna.
You thought you were gonna
Because
get-
you had said that you wanted to be off the wheel, and you were just gonna
I mean,
I was
decide.
hoping we would forget.
I've got a bad time forgetting. I
well,
remember.
He's got
I
a bad-
was
not bad.
at one point in the beginning of the show, I was thinking I would go in the middle, but then as we got towards the end, I'm like, oh man, like Zach is like 2 hours ahead, Like maybe he doesn't want to go at the very end. But if you don't mind, I'll go right now.
Sure.
You're the hostess.
host. You
You're the
decide
host,
when you go.
Nicole.
You could
I'll
tell
go right-
Zach to
I'll
go
go
I
right
could
now. you
mind
could
like
go
the
blah.
Dickens, and I wouldn't have a say in it. So
I'll go. I'll go right now. Actually, I'll go right
Okay.
now. So my song.
yeah,
There
what did you pick,
is-
Nicole, and why?
And why? So, yeah, I was kind of. I don't know. Like I didn't have a song that I decided on before choosing the theme, which is funny because normally that's what I do, and it's just like, okay, it's gonna be easy for me because everyone else has to choose a song.
The rest of us are.
But yeah, at first I guess I was kind of thinking of this one song that was more, as I was listening to it more, it's a new song by this artist Sierra Farrell that I first thought of, and it's more of a heartbreak song, and I was like, well, I don't know if I want to do a heartbreak song because it's kind of the easy way, the easy route, I thought maybe for me. So then I thought of a few other songs that maybe went with the different themes we were talking about, but finally I am gonna go for this. This is a song by the artist Sufjan Stevens. Zach, you might be familiar with him. He plays like he's a Christian, like he is a Christian artist, but that's not his only thing. Like he also plays secular music too, I suppose. But this song that I'm doing is called Should Have Known Better, and it's from his album Carrie and Lowell, and it's one of my favorite albums of all time. It's very depressing. It's very sad. Maybe it's a good thing I'm doing this song now instead of like ending the show on a very sad note. But this album is very personal for this artist. He lost his mother, and this album is it's like a letter to his mom. The whole album is, and it's all about his childhood, and they had a very rough relationship. She was kind of like a drug addict, didn't really raise him, was there in the beginning of his life, but then I don't know if he went into foster care or what, but just had a tough relationship with his mom. And then she had dealt with cancer at the end of her life and passes away. And you can tell that he really just regrets not forgiving her earlier, like before she passed. And it's just like there's so many things that he wished he could have said. One of the songs is like a conversation that he just made up in his head between him and his mom at her deathbed. Like it's just, this album is intense. I love it so much because I've always grown up with a great relationship with my parents, so I don't really relate to that at all. But when you hear this album, it's like you can feel what this guy has like gone through, and it's emotional. And that's the cool thing about music. You can really feel what others are writing down and playing for us. So anyway, this song it kind of ends on a lighter note actually at the very end, but it's called Should Have Known Better by Sufjan Stevens. Should have known better to see what I could see. My black shroud holding down my feelings, a pillar for my enemies. I should have wrote a letter and grieve what I happen to grieve. my black shroud. I never trust my feelings. I waited for the remedy. When I was three, maybe 4, she left us at that video store. Oh, be my rest, be my fantasy. Oh, be my rest, be my fantasy. I'm light as a feather, I'm bright as the Oregon breeze. My black shroud, frightened by my feelings. I only want to be a relief. No, I'm not a go-getter. The demon had a spell on me. My black shroud, captain of my feelings, the only thing I want to believe. When I was free to explore, I saw her face on the back of the door. Be my rest, be my fantasy. Be my rest, be my fantasy. I should have known better. Nothing can be changed. The past is still the past, the bridge to nowhere. I should have wrote a letter explaining what I feel, that empty feeling. Don't back down, concentrate on seeing the breakers in the bar, the neighbors greeting. My brother had a daughter, the beauty that she brings, illumination. Don't back down, there is nothing left. The breakers in the bar, no reason to live. I'm a fool in the fetter, Rose of Aaron's beard, where you can reach me. Don't back down, nothing can be changed. Cantilever's bridge, the drunken sailor. My brother had a daughter, the beauty that she brings, illumination. Illumination. Oh, my mouth got so dry.
Get that
Beautiful
precious
song.
saliva.
I've never heard that song before or the artist. You're gonna I most certainly have some stuff to look up on Spotify after
Yeah.
tonight.
Everybody in the chat saying, "Oh my gosh!" First of all, she's killing this.
Yeah.
Second of all, who is this? Third of all, we're gonna look them up. But
Yes,
ladies and
I
gentlemen,
need to spell it in the chat because it is like very. I used to say his name all wrong.
I think Darren White or Darren
Yeah.
Walsh found it. Sufjan, Sufjan.
Like I used to say Sufjan, but it's Sufjan.
Sufjan Stevens. Oh my gosh.
Harry and
So
Lowell
amazing.
is the album, and he's got just I mean his all his albums are so different, like one from the next. It's yeah. He kind of goes a little bit into more like his more recent one is a little bit more synthesizer based. This one is a lot of acoustic, but like with kind of some synth and then pianos thrown in too, and it's really just touching. It's like, oh man, it pulls on the heartstrings for sure. But I love that album.
Before we move on, another hand, please, for Nicole.
Thanks everyone. Thank you. Glad I got through that one.
You didn't just get through it, and I was thinking like, oh man. So we started this channel, the Vaudacity Network, during the pandemic, and we're like, hey everybody, like professional performers, like come hang out. And we were blessed with so much amazing instrumentalism throughout the pandemic and beyond, but then something beautiful happened where like also other people were learning to play instruments and through the pandemic and stuff, and like growing and stretching our wings and trying new things and stuff. And you know, as like these things evolve and performers come in and performers drop off, like sometimes it's just so amazing. It's like a refreshing drink of water to hear just such strong instrument, like just guitar playing, I will just say, from my state of mind. And I'm not like obviously not talking like negatively about anybody who's playing and anybody. I've never said this about here on the channel, but when you're playing that song and we're just listening to you perform live on the internet over space and time across the country, we like it's so, I'm probably explaining this wrong, but for my brain and my emotions to think like she's in a room in a part of the world where she's just playing this song that sounds like it could be on the radio. It sounds like it's a professional level, great, like not just you're playing, but you're singing at the same time on a live stream where there's no take backs, and you're just like playing from your bedroom wherever you are. And it blows my mind again and again, starting from the beginning of the pandemic when nobody could find anywhere to play an instrument, and to now when it's like 11 o'clock at night or 1 a.m. where Zach is, and we're just listening to like professional level like live entertainment. I'm like, my mind is blown. And I explained that wrong, but what I meant to say was you're freaking amazing.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for that beautiful compliment, Paul. And honestly, like I'm just so blessed to be part of this, and that you reached out, and that I saw your message, and I mean now we're a huge family, and it's amazing. And I love singing and playing guitar, and honestly with the baby and stuff, it's hard to find the time to just like play. And coming to these shows, and like when Amanda reaches out and is like, hey, like let's do a duet, like sometimes it's like, I don't have time, but it's no, like I need to make time for this because it's what makes me happy. So, and Mike can say the same thing too. So yeah, we're very blessed to be part of this and to be playing for you guys, and I'm glad that you like the music that we play. So thank you for listening.
Don't have to thank me for listening. Thank you for playing. I'm sorry
thanks,
for taking
guys.
so much of your show just to say words.
You can take as many minutes as you please.
I know you have more performers waiting in the wings, but
By the way, really quick, if I may, just a thank you, a shout out to Emily Thatcher.
Yes.
I got a nice tip. So, Emily, thank you so very, very much. Appreciate you.
Oh, that's so awesome. Oh, and I'm going to thank my mom who actually sent me a little tipsy. Thanks, Mom.
And might as well just show it up really quick one more time.
Sure.
If you want to. I mean, you don't have to. We're just grateful that you're here with us to enjoy the evening. But if you'd like to, these are the tip jars for our performers through Venmo. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And I have a question for people that are in the chat. What songs came to mind for you guys? I'd love to hear, some songs that are about this theme, and maybe we'll all learn some new songs from you guys too, and maybe we'll learn some new songs because of you guys too. So drop it in the chat.
Do you mind if I ask another question for people to drop in the chat?
Of course, I don't mind.
So tomorrow, I'm doing my first interview for season 2 of Cove Podcast with our friend Krishnanand, who joined us in season 1. He was the guy who was riding a motorcycle and got hit in the head by a truck.
What? And
had this near-death experience and an experience with all of the angels.
Oh.
And so he wanted to come back and talk about all of the experiences he's had since then, but he also wants to answer any questions anybody has. So if you're around tomorrow at 10 a.m., we're going to stream it live, but I also want to know, because he asked me, what questions do you have for me? Like, I've been on the other side of the veil, and I'm living here now. Like, what can I answer for you? If you have any questions that I can pose to him tomorrow, please drop those in the chat as well. Like, tomorrow morning, I will have the opportunity to ask him whatever questions you may have from someone who has been dead and came back. So that's...
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
I guess, like, a question I have is, now that he's seen what's on the other side, or he says there's another side, like, how is he living his life differently? And, like, does it seriously affect, like, the relationships he's forming now since the accident? And yeah, I don't know. It seems wild to me.
It's a great question, and it's so existential. It's just like, so when you know what paradise is, or what heaven is, or whatever the veil lifts and shows you, like, how can you find meaning in what you're doing today, going to work and sitting at a desk? And no, I totally get that. Yes, I will ask him.
Sweet. I will watch.
But drop those questions in the chat, and I know Nicole has questions for 2 more people here on the wheel.
Shall we spin the wheel, or do you guys want to play rock, paper, scissors live?
In order to keep the order of the show the way it is, just go ahead and spin the wheel.
Oh, I love
Zach's
Zach
like,
is
it's
just
5
like...
o'clock. It's 5 o'clock tomorrow. So it
doesn't matter.
I mean, I don't have work tomorrow, so it doesn't matter to me.
You're gonna pull an all-nighter, and let's find another way.
Not like we haven't done that on this network before.
My boss is taking a vacation day tomorrow, so if I sleep till noon, nobody's going to notice.
All right, Craig, spin that wheel. Who's it gonna be? Zach still hasn't been last.
David's always last. Oh, David.
I'm the slowest. That's what happens when you're the slowest.
Zach, well, I'm glad we got to, like, chat earlier and hear about what was going on in your life lately. What came to mind? I'm sure I have so many thoughts of, like, what is Zach gonna sing? I feel like you might sing a church song, but maybe not. I don't know.
Well,
REO Speedwagon, do they have a forgiveness song?
well, that was
ZZ
on
Top.
that was on the agenda tonight, but given that I've literally screamed my voice out over the last week, I was running through a few REO songs earlier, and
Really?
some of the notes I just could not comfortably hit for whatever reason. So
That's
I'm just
fair.
like, okay.
He's been doing a Metallica coffee shop arrangement.
But whenever you first mentioned forgiveness, instantly, I don't know why, but I instantly thought of the VeggieTales, the Forgiveness song.
What?
I've heard of this. Yes.
I actually
It's
haven't.
one of the early VeggieTales one. The early VeggieTales songs. This would have been after the God is greater than the boogeyman. This one's the one where Bob and Larry get stranded on the beach, and they're like on a vacation with a few of the other veggies, and they all kind of get mad at each other and like not they kind of break away, and they're like, oh, I'm not your friend anymore, I'm not your friend. And they do like find some way to come back together, and this is the song that was the song at the end of the episode. But I listening to that, I'm like, oh my gosh, that would be way too obvious and way too easy.
That's so cute,
so
though.
I dug a little bit deeper, and I'm like, well, there's this one song by Neil Diamond that I don't think a lot of people have heard. Maybe some of his true diehard fans have heard. But this is a song off of the September Morn album. That's, listening to this song, it's about this need for self-forgiveness, letting someone, of all the regrets that come with dating and, and first loves and all that. And I thought this would be a good song to do, and it's called That Kind.
Wow, I'm so excited to hear you play this. Go, Zach.
She was only 17 and was every young boy's dream, the blue-eyed beauty queen of the day. Broke some hearts, including mine, but everyone knew she was just that kind. Seems like all her dreams were spent on the boys that came and went, but the promises were all but left behind. She was good, and she was mine, but everyone knew she was just that kind. Hey, they said they're gonna take you out to Hollywood, gonna make her like a movie star, maybe put her in a picture show. Took her chance, she paid her dime, and maybe I loved her, 'cause she was that kind. She was gone by 21, when most lives had just begun. There was so much left undone along the way. She took her chance, she paid her dime. Oh, you gotta be strong to be that kind. So they said We gotta get you out to Hollywood. Gonna make you like a movie star. And maybe put you in a picture show. Wasted life, a waste of time. But I couldn't have loved her if she wasn't that kind. But I couldn't have loved her if she wasn't that kind.
Whoa.
Oh my goodness. Zach, you nailed that song on every level. Like,
Yeah,
That
I'm
was
not
my f-
following that. Bye.
that was so good. David, come back, first of all. You are so playing still.
David,
Oh.
come back.
But that was awesome. I'd never heard that song, Zach,
Good one,
and
Paul.
like love that song so much. I just saved it on Spotify. I love your guitar, the sound of your guitar in the beginning and at the end where you kind of go up on the guitar a bit, and your range, like it was, I don't know if your voice a little bit lower because you're yelling at the stadium, but like you even had a little rasp at one point. I was like, that's
Yeah.
so good.
That was right in your
That's-
wheelhouse.
Yeah, it was so good. So good.
I don't know if I've told this story before, but back when I was in high school, that's what a lot of my friends knew me for, was my love for Neil Diamond and me doing a lot of his covers of his music.
Wow.
And especially at my church youth group on open mic nights, that would be my go-to artist. And I do a lot of his less obvious, less popular songs. And
So like Sweet Caroline.
no,
To
we're
America.
talking like Longfellow Serenade.
Oh, that's
the
a
last
gorgeous
Picasso, The Last Picasso, from the Serenade album.
Uh-huh.
I need to get educated right now. I only know
Longfellow
the crack
Serenade
roses.
is
There's
so
another-
beautiful.
There's another song from the You Don't Bring Me Flowers album, called Mothers and Daughters, Fathers and Sons. I actually did that one for my uncle's birthday one year. And, you know, he's just an artist that, I don't know, just fascinates me a little, you know, just his story and how he rose to the top. And, in a way, I kind of just saw myself, you know, through some of the songs that he sang, and especially this one. You know, there were a lot of girls in high school that, you know, looking back now, I'm just like, man, I wished I would have. You know, she was gorgeous, but you know, you gotta learn. You know, there's a lot of things that were left undone, but maybe it was for the better that it was undone. And you just have to forgive yourself and move on with life.
Well said. Well said. That's so true, dude.
And I
Paul,
also
what's
kind of
that
thought
face
of,
for?
I also kind of thought of Diana Nicole. I know she always enjoys hearing me play, and she's here in the chat. And I was actually a little worried. She didn't show up at the first part of the show, and
She said, she was like, now Zach can play, and then it
Yeah.
spun and it landed on you. So I think
I've thought of her whenever I chose this song, you know, because I know, you know, in conversations with her, you know, she's had quite a life, and you know, every time I pick a song to do on this network, I hope someone can make a connection with it. It's some, whether it be something that they've experienced in their past, or, a way that I could relate to all of you and share what I do with you. And that's how I picked the song.
That's awesome, Zach. I'm sure that you've really touched people in the chat, and you've done that here too. So good job, man.
Thank you.
Well, David, Red
it's my
Curtain
turn.
Man. How does one choose a song, a song without lyrics? Is it by the title of the song? Is it about the composer's life?
No, one chooses a piano transcription of something that has lyrics. Is what one does. I mean, seriously though, that's actually what I did do. But
Really?
one of my first, so I looked up like what kind of classical type music could be, at least construed as being about forgiveness, and I didn't need a Google search for it. The first thing that came up, and the first thing that came to my mind was Beethoven's 17th Piano Sonata, because that particular piece, he was apparently at some point in his life talking with the guy who would eventually become his biographer, Anton Schindler. And Schindler was asking him about, I don't know if it was specifically the first movement of the three movement piece or if it was the whole thing, but asking basically what inspired this, where did this come from? And Beethoven was not known for writing what was called programmatic music, meaning writing music with like a really trying to illustrate a specific story that's going on. But apparently for this particular piece of music, he said, if you want to understand it, read The Tempest by Shakespeare. Because The Tempest is all about, ends with this whole big forgiveness theme. And so that's kind of the theme that's been associated with that piano sonata. But I don't know that sonata all that well, and Beethoven sonatas are not the hardest thing out there, but they're not easy. And
Close.
it's like, I'm not going to learn this in 2 days.
What? You just got our hopes up, man. Why would you do
That was the first thing. And then so the second thing that came to mind was the second movement of his fourth piano concerto, more because it's about Orpheus and Eurydice. And if you know anything about that story, you know that Eurydice dies, goes to the underworld. Orpheus goes down to try and save her. He does. As they're leaving, he's been told by Hades that he cannot turn around and look at her. He has to lead her out, but he can't turn back and look. And right as they're almost out, they're almost back to the light, he turns around and looks because she's saying, hey, why won't you look at me? And loses her forever, which I hate the story because it means she gets shafted through no fault of her own. He gets to go off and live with the gods. And he's a demigod, so he gets to go off and live with the gods, and she's stuck in the underworld. So it just kind of sucks for her.
But she didn't know, right?
She didn't know. So the middle movement of his fourth piano concerto, again, Beethoven not known for programmatic music, but it's thought that is what he had in mind when he wrote that. It's really, it's incredible, but it wasn't really totally about forgiveness. My thought was more like Orpheus really needs forgiveness after this, but he ain't gonna get it.
Nice.
But then the thought popped into mind. I had the thoughts about like peace and serenity, and this sort of fits with that. Then the thought popped into mind, well, you know what? I've sung at least 3 different Requiem masses. Mozart's Brahms, which is German Requiem, it's not really the Latin Mass. It's a bit of a different thing. And Duruflé. And unfortunately, I've never sung Verdi's, but the movement that I went with is a transcription by Franz Liszt of the Agnus Dei from Verdi's Requiem. And the reason why I went with this is because the Requiem as a whole is all about atonement, forgiveness, granting peace, granting mercy. And the Agnus Dei is a very good, sort of illustrative example of that. So this particular piece, it does lose a bit in translation, I think. It's a Liszt transcription, so it's very, very good. But you lose a bit when you don't have the original, solo soprano, choir, and orchestra that it was written for.
Mm.
So it starts out with essentially imitating the solo voice for the first, I don't know how many measures, and then I think tenors and basses and probably some instruments start to come in. I've never performed this particular requiem, like I said, so I don't.
Cool.
I thought about doing Mozart's Agnus Dei, but it's because I do have a piano transcription of that. It's a bit more challenging to play, but the main reason why I decided not to do it is because Mozart didn't write it. Mozart died before he finished his Requiem, and so at least one of his students actually finished it, and nobody really knows exactly where Mozart left off and where the student's work began, where other people had written completions of it. But the Agnus Dei and Mozart's Requiem is the second to last movement, and it's like, well, he did not write that one.
I see.
So I wanted something that was more, authentic. I mean, it's not bad, but I wanted something more authentically by, the particular composer. So I looked at the Verdi and I thought, you know what? Not only is this about forgiveness, it's also an unusually forgiving piece by Liszt from a technical standpoint.
Nice. Well, we're excited to hear it. So
All right. So let me switch.
go ahead and bless us with this piece.
Hang on a sec. Let me fix the camera.
Okay.
There we go. All right. Oh yeah, and I should say I've played this exactly twice in my life. So here we go.
That was really good. That was very pretty.
Yeah, isn't that pretty? That's the other reason why I chose it. It was really pretty. This took a little bit. I do have a straight transcription of it, which is, I think, intended to be used in like rehearsals with the choir. And so List did take some artistic license with it. That's not an exact transcription, but having played the straight transcription, List's is way better. It works way better on the piano.
It was beautiful. Yeah,
Yeah.
very pretty. When I like
You're
how it
getting a
started
lot of
off simple.
comments like that in the chat.
Yeah. And it's got that peaceful, serene sort of feeling. And the Agnus Dei, I forget where it lands in Verdi's Requiem. I think the Agnus Dei tends to be towards the end of the Requiem. It may not be the last movement, but it tends to be one of the last ones.
Well, cool. Well, thanks for sharing that with us. It's always
Yeah.
interesting to see what direction you're going to go in. And I always love the explanation. So
Interesting
yeah.
for me too, because I often don't. I'm like, well, what am I going to do with this? I don't know.
Yeah, it's so like for anybody who hasn't thought of it, like we all come to it from a sense of like pop music or music that we know, like what's played on the radio that we usually listen to. And David's like sitting at his piano going, I've got my classical piano history and the history of classical music, but like
They're like a Reddit thread, like
Let me learn something really
piece
quick.
that is
That's-
about forgiveness.
I mean, I did find it wasn't Reddit specifically, but something like that. Yeah, there was, and it gave me some initial ideas, but then I was just thinking about it. I think this morning, it was almost hitting that point where panic was starting to set in, and I thought, oh, you know what, requiems, those are all about forgiveness, or at least the desire for forgiveness. And so I was like, there is a section of the original Latin Mass that is very, very specifically asking the Lord for forgiveness.
Yeah.
The problem is no composers I know of have ever set that particular portion of it to music, or whatever reason if you look at like the entire Latin Mass and compare it to Mozart's Requiem or anybody, Verdi's or anybody else's, they cherry pick bits of it. They don't do the entire thing.
Well, like the Kyrie, right? Like Zach, right? Isn't that that's
Lord have mercy, Christ have mercy, Lord have mercy. Yeah.
Yeah, the Kyrie liaison is, and Mozart's particularly, is pretty powerful.
there you go. For anyone else that's curious, check out Kyrie.
Well, and lots of composers have written requiems. Schubert didn't specifically write a requiem, I don't think, but he did write a whole bunch of masses, set to music.
Oh, that's awesome.
Mozart's Requiem is far and away the most famous one, but Brahms wrote the German Requiem, which was religious, but it wasn't a Latin mass that he was setting like everybody else did. Duruflé wrote one. Verdi wrote his Verdi is pretty famous too. There's a whole bunch of others. So yeah, lots of grist for the Spotify mill in that genre.
Well, like I said earlier in the chat, if you have any recommendations for us to check out, please write those in. I want to thank you all for staying up late with us and hanging out and listening to the music. Yes, thank you for being here with us. I want to also say that, forgiveness, it helps us grow as a person, to forgive others that have maybe hurt us, and also to forgive ourselves and ask for forgiveness. So keep those things in mind as you go about your day and life.
Just real quick, I want to say thank you to Emily Thatcher.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much.
That's very nice of you, Emily. So thanks everyone, and can't wait to see you at the next Deep Cuts. I think we're gonna close out the night, but we will see you on the other side.
Thanks, everybody.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
Talking to myself and feeling old. Sometimes I'd like to quit. Nothing ever seems to fit. Hanging around, nothing to do but frown. Rainy days and Mondays always get me down.
Hello, it's me. I was wondering if after all these years you'd like to meet. We'll go over everything. They say the time's supposed to heal you, but I ain't done much healing. Hello? Can you hear me? I'm in California dreaming about who we used to be when we were younger and free. I've forgotten how it felt before the world felt at our feet. There's such a difference between us and a million miles. Hello from the other side. I must have called 1,000 times to tell you I'm sorry for everything that I've done. But when I call, you never seem to be home. Hello from the outside. At least I can say that I tried to tell you I'm sorry for breaking your heart, but it don't matter. It doesn't tear you apart anymore. Hello, how are you? It's so typical of me to talk about myself. I'm sorry. I hope you're well. Did you ever make it out of that town where nothing ever happened? It's still secret. And both of us are running out of time. So hello from the other side. I must have called 1,000 times to tell you I'm sorry for everything that I've done. But when I call you, never seem to be home. Hello from the outside. At least I can say that I tried to tell you I'm sorry for breaking your heart. But it don't matter, clearly doesn't tear you apart anymore. Hello from the other side. I must have tried 1,000 times to tell you I'm sorry for everything that I've done. When I call, you never seem to be home. So hello from the outside. At least I can say I've tried to tell you I'm sorry for breaking your heart. But it doesn't matter. Clearly doesn't tear you apart anymore.
Talking to myself and feeling old.
A child arrived just the other day. He came to the world in the usual way, but there were planes to catch and bills to pay. He learned to walk while I was away, and he was talking for I knew it. And as he grew, he said, I'm gonna be like you, Dad. You know I'm gonna be like you. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue and the man in the moon. When you're coming home, Dad, I don't know when. We'll get together then. You know we'll have a good time then. My son turned 10 just the other day. He said, thanks for the ball, Dad, come on, let's play. Can you teach me to throw? I said, not today, I got a lot to do. He said, that's okay. Jeb's smile never dimmed and said, I'm gonna be like him. Yeah, you know I'm gonna be like him. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue and the man in the moon. When you're coming home, Dad, I don't know when. We'll get together then. You know we'll have a good time then. Well, he came from college just the other day. So much like a man, I just had to say, son, I'm proud of you. Can you sit for a while? He shook his head and he said with a smile, what I'd really like, Dad, is to borrow the car keys. See you later, can I have them, please? And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue and the man in the moon. When you're coming home, son, I don't know when. We'll get together then, Dad. You know we'll have a good time then. Long since retired, my son's moved away. I called him up just the other day. I said, I'd like to see you if you don't mind. He said, I'd love to, Dad, if I could find the time. You see, a new job's a hassle and the kids with the flu, but it's sure nice talking to you, Dad. It's been sure nice talking to you. And as I hung up the phone, it occurred to me, he'd grown up just like me. My boy was just like me. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue and the man in the moon. When you're coming home, son, I don't know when, but we'll get together then, Dad. We're gonna have a good time then.
Even if I never hear the words I'd hoped you'd say, even if you never find the error in your ways, I know that you try to hide behind the lies you tell. Though you've hurt me, I still wish you well. Nothing could prepare me for the joy you took from me. Stole away the person that I was when I was free. Learning
tell those lonesome feelings not to dwell. Though you've hurt me, I still wish you well. And when you sleep, I hope you dream someday dancing in the sun. And when you wake and face the day, oh, the damage you have done. I could let it go and live to fight another day. It's enough to know that you'll be settled with the same. And you'll have to live with what you did and face yourself. Though you hurt me, I still wish you well. Sleep, I hope you dream someday dancing in the sun. And when you wake and face the day, oh, the damage you have done. I could let you rattle in the rafters of my brain, cry until my tears could fill the river with the rain. But I finally found a way to break your dreadful spell. Though you've hurt me, I still wish you well. Though you've hurt me, I still wish you well.
Talking to myself and feeling old. Sometimes I'd like to quit. Nothing ever seems to fit. Hanging around. Nothing to do but frown. Rainy days and Mondays
I'm sitting up here and drinking. She's sitting down there and thinking. Got on a tape of Velveeta, Perona, and my Smith Corona. Keep saying I'm sorry, I'm saying I'm sorry. And then I'm saying good night. She's sitting up there and fuming. She thinks I'm something inhuman. She'd rather be with Paul Newman. I know her and my Smith Corona. Keep saying I'm sorry, I'm saying I'm sorry. And then I'm saying good night. Good It's gonna be alright. Let's call it a lesson we've learned. She's not an easy forgiver. Could throw myself in a river. She sent me back to do it once more, and encore, and what's more, use the back door. Well, I'm saying I'm sorry, I'm saying I'm sorry. Then I'm saying good night. Good night. Good night. Baby, you know that I love you. Alright, it's gonna be alright. Let's call it a lesson we've learned. She's sitting up there and waiting. Hey dummy, quit hesitating. Take off a tape of Evita Perona. Turn off that Corona and tell her you're sorry. I'm saying I'm sorry. And then I'm saying good night. And then I'm saying good night. And then I'm saying good night. Good night.
Talking to myself and feeling old. Sometimes Talking to myself and feeling old. Sometimes I'd like to quit. Nothing ever seems to fit. Hanging around, nothing to do but frown. Rainy days and Mondays always get me down.